working through getting audio. But again, talking with Western Carolina head women's basketball coach Jonathan Sippis, who's been kind enough to give us some time here. I know, taking time away from the preparation that goes into it. You talk about tournament time. It's something about it. It's something special. You look back at your career, and what does it take? How do you get those wins in tournament play? What's the key? What's the secret sauce that it's going to take to find a way in tournament action?
Yeah, and especially you're playing a team a third time, the game never goes like either of the first two. And again, I think, what I've seen is both an assistant as a head coach is you have to plan for things to go opposite like you have all season. And you got to be willing to say, hey, this is what we've counted on the whole year. Nobody comes in and all of a sudden just, a team that plays great man-to-man, and again, Chattanooga's played some zone, but all of a sudden you're not going to see 40 minutes of zone out of them. I think it's to trust your instincts. All of a sudden somebody that has been a great 3-point shooter, you've got to rely on that, even if they come out a little bit cold. And I've talked to our players already, and just like for us, there's no pressure. And again, for Chat, I've been in that position where you've been picked number one, you finish number one, and then everybody expects to see you on that last day.
Yeah.
And I think that first game a lot of times is the hardest game to play, when you have those expectations. And, just understanding to stay, I think the players are in their routine, trying to keep them, the understanding of have players that have been through that 11 a.m. game. We've played 11 a.m. games. We've played Kids Day games.
Yeah.
You try to make sure that when you play that tournament game, they don't feel like they haven't done something like this all season long. The pageantry, they've got to enjoy that. They've got to look around and see how great a job both, the Asheville community, obviously, Harrah's, in the Cherokee Center, but with the Southern Conference, it's just a different feeling. And they've got to feel that and use that as energy. I always talk about, like, you get X amount of conference games. You get, if you're lucky, you get 4 conference championship games, or just a play-in, and take advantage of that. Doesn't matter where you're seated. Doesn't matter what time you play. It's a different experience. And again, the teams that I think have done the best, to me, try to treat that game like a regular season game, but feed off that energy.
Right. And as you looking at Chattanooga, the number 1 seed, they're going to be chock full with postseason all-conference performers. And you mentioned Kaya Ellis-Aldez, who was the best player in the conference, at least according to what the coaches voted preseason. Would imagine it'll be very similar coming up. You talk about the tournament bracket here, Coach, and you look, the 8-1 matchup there first. And then, again, you look at the regular season, how some of these games played out, and a lot of splits, a couple of sweeps. But again, you look down there at ETSU, who's got one of the defending champions and the team that had an outstanding year a season ago, who I thought we saw at the end of the year here might have been playing some of their best basketball the last couple of weeks in terms of what they were doing. The results be what they were. I felt like they were playing better. They were getting into their identity a little more. But again, you look at that bracket, and I'm not sure there's anybody, everybody in that bracket's dangerous, 1 through 8 coming into this weekend.
Yeah, no question. I think Wofford was right there, and some of those tiebreakers were between Wofford and Chattanooga, and Wofford came in the last weekend winning 5 in a row, and just putting some people away in those games, and credit Coach Curtis and his team on Saturday for coming out, and especially after beating Wofford at Wofford on a buzzer beater, coming out and throwing that punch that all of a sudden landed this 3-way tie. And like you said, UNC Greensboro's played, all these teams to 2-point games as well with chances. So, and they've got that pedigree. I think, that's where you have players like Jada Lee and Tasia Johnson and obviously Micaiah Asadanya have all been there.
Yeah.
They understand what it is to win 3 games in 4 days. And so that's the fun part. I think this is when the madness starts. And, But again, when you only have 8 teams in the league, and you, like you mentioned, there's splits. There's, you might have somebody that has a sweep over somebody like Furman, who, all of a sudden is seated lower than a Wofford. So it makes for exciting basketball. It makes our league what it is. And again, even though it was a younger league this year, it's been fun, except when you have to play them sometimes, to see the youth in our league doing really, really well and moving our league forward.
Well, you talk about Western Carolina. What's it going to take for us to take that drive down Buzzer Beater Boulevard to get into Upset City, to go into there, all the acronyms that go in and all the fun phrases? What's it going to take for Western Carolina to go against the number 1 seed Chattanooga and to pull that? Again, like I said, I'm not sure in that bracket. Numerically, it'd be an upset, but again, I do feel like anybody can beat anybody this year. But what's it going to take for us?
Yeah, I think the three main things we've got to finish possessions, rebounding the basketball. We've given up 16 and 19 offensive rebounds. We've held them pretty well on second chance points, giving up that many rebounds. But again, that means we're not getting out in transition and playing with the pace that I think we're best at when we get. And that doesn't mean just being in transition every time. That's moving the ball side to side, especially against a team that does such a good job of protecting the paint. I think offensively going with that we've got to do a similar type of job that we did against Greensboro with taking care of the basketball. Cutting the turnovers down to the, right above 10 to 12. It can't be up to 18 or 20 or, if you're doing that and you're giving up offensive rebounds, you're going to have that differentiation a number of shots that Chattanooga gets versus us. And then I think defensively, we've got to make things contested. Whether it's in the man or in zone, we've got to make them. We've got to keep Kaya Elizalde from controlling the game, whether it's her scoring or ball or playmaking. That again, like people, even when she does give it up, are taking contested shots. And then that goes back to the rebounding.
Of course, we'll show that bracket again here as we look forward to the week. It gets underway on Thursday, Western Carolina and Chattanooga that morning. And again, it rolls through an entire day of activity. You get to play that one. You come back the next day, play the semifinal game, and then try to get the day off on Saturday, which is a full slate of men's games. And then, of course, the championship at noon on Sunday. Again, Catamount Nation could play a big part in this as well. Finding a way, as I mentioned, paint Asheville purple. I wanted to see wall to wall for every game that we're in. And then, you know what, even more impressive, when you look up and you see a game that Western Carolina is not in after we get our win and we're sitting there, they stick around and are showing Western Carolina, because this being, again, it's kind of a central hub. Asheville's a central hub to the Southern Conference, but it's in Western North Carolina, and we are Western North Carolina's team. So it's really impressive to look around the arena and see purple. So talk to the fans here, Coach, how important it is for them to be a part of what we're trying to do here as we look to make a run here in March.
No question, and that 11 a.m. game is so important too, because how loud our fans are really dictates some of those students, right? Those elementary and middle school students. They're just loud. But if you can get them to be more loud when our team is cheering and everything like that, that means they're going to be louder against the opponents. I think, even starting with Wednesday night, we have the Catamount Club has a reception at our hotel from 7 to 9. A great chance. We're going to make sure our team is there and our staff's there to thank those Catamount Club people who come for their support. And then you talked about the early girl breakfast that next morning. But, having only been through this once, I was amazed for an 11 a.m. game how much a difference and how loud our fan base was. That really helped us, obviously, against, the number 1 seed last year, and team that we had, in Greensboro that we'd gone down to the wire with twice before. We had them there as we were putting that run together to cut it to 2 at the end of the third quarter, to take the lead in the fourth quarter. That can be the difference. For our fan base, that can be the difference in finishing a game out. It is just our players as they're fighting and clawing, as a Catamount would, being able to be there to get us over the hump in the end.
Well, looking forward to that. Coach, wish you the best of luck as we travel over. Again, all conference teams come out. Might have a couple of players an opportunity. I think we got some players that have made an impact in this league and made a mark on the Southern Conference. So those come out later this week. And, of course, looking forward to 11 a.m. Get your tickets. Again, we talk about being over at the Early Girl Eatery. That'll be that morning of the game on Thursday morning, 11 a.m., Education Day game. And if you're seeing this thing on your screen now, you can scan that QR code, take you right to the ticket page. You can just skip the single session tickets. Go ahead and buy the whole book, because you're going to want to be there for the entire tournament, start to finish. Again, Asheville, it's where altitude affects attitude. And I tell you what, we got to have a good performance in terms of our fan base coming out, decked out in purple and gold, getting ready to watch this team play. Coach, wish you the best of luck. It's been a privilege all year, and looking forward to more this weekend.
Well, thanks for all you do, and including us, and we look forward to seeing everybody at 11 a.m. on Thursday.
Sounds good. All right, we'll stick around. We're going to talk more Catamount athletics and look forward to the other side of the bracket, which would be the men's tournament, which gets underway on Friday. But for us, it doesn't start till Saturday. We'll talk about that and how we got to that point as we continue from Catamount Jacks live tonight here on our Catamount Coaches Show, our Southern Conference Tournament preview. Back with more right after this.
At Ingles, our greatest joy comes when we can play some small part in helping the communities we call home. And really, it's all thanks to you. From tools for schools to hurricane relief to toys at Christmas time, we've done it together. And this time, you've done it again. Thanks for your kindness at the cash register, your smiles across the aisles, and your can-do spirit. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
Hey, and welcome back to our Catamount Coaches Show, our Southern Conference basketball tournament preview as we look at the Western Carolina Catamounts heading into the Southern Conference tournament over in Asheville as one of the hottest teams in the SoCon. Looking forward to being in Asheville as we hashtag Paint Asheville Purple. Remember that, starting on Thursday all the way through Monday night, we want to paint Asheville purple, looking at all of our alums. Buncombe County, Asheville, our biggest part of our alumni base. We need to own Asheville. We need to have everybody out, so make sure you get your tickets in advance online at CatamountSports.com. Of course, our Catamount Coaches Show presented by Catamount Jacks, home of our Coaches Show and Catamount Football Weekly, and also by our good friends with Stanberry Insurance. Again, 4 locations across Western North Carolina to serve you: Sylva, Waynesville, Highlands, and Clyde. Make sure you visit them online, stanberry-ins.com. I know the Stanberries have already got their tickets for the entire tournament, Thursday through Monday. Make sure you're in Asheville, Coach. Again, we've finished the year. You always talk about wanting to finish the year playing your best basketball. Well, I think right now the Catamounts, at least the way we're winning, we are playing some of our best ball of the year.
We're playing good ball. We are for sure. And I think the biggest thing with our players right now is obviously winning brings some confidence, and making winning plays brings confidence. But I think the way that the guys are feeding off one another, the way they're playing for each other, they really are, as we say, lost in the team right now. And they've been able to see some great results. And so it's exciting to go into Asheville here with the way that we're playing, for sure.
A big question is, did you see my notes before? Because that was my second bullet, was seems like confidence is really exuding, because you're winning in multiple ways. You've jumped out to big leads. You've had to come from behind. Mm-hmm. You've been in tight games. You've been in big-time blowout games. You've been winning in a variety of factors and fashions, but finding a way to get it done has been the ultimate common denominator.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it. I mean, we've had some games where we've really played well and had big leads. The Mercer game Wednesday was one that was back and forth, and we were down quite a bit of the second half, and were able to come back and find a way to get the win. And then, our last one here, Furman, was a really just tight, competitive game like you would expect. And then, we really just found a great rhythm in that second half and kind of warmed down and opened up a nice lead. But we've done it different ways. Our offense has been pretty good throughout. Our defense is getting better and has gotten better. And you need that, I think, because you can't always rely on shooting the ball well and that type of thing.
Well, when you talk about this Southern Conference tournament, you talk about the league in general, the parity across the league. I mean, you go into the last day, only 2 seeds have been decided. On the last day of the regular season, you get a possibility of a 5-way tie going into the last game because of all the competitiveness, the parity across the league. You talk about the Catamounts coming in, having knocked off the number 1 team twice during the regular season. Then you got teams right in front of us that we struggled with. It's just back and forth. Again, it's just the parity. I always say that this league is all about matchups, and I think especially when you start looking at tournament time, it's really about who you match up with going into this tournament.
Yeah, it can be. Basketball can be like that for sure, in terms of what the matchups are like. And the conference has been so competitive, just from top to bottom. And you said it. I mean, going into Saturday, we didn't know where we were going to be. I mean, obviously you win the game. You got to try to win a game and take care of your business. But you don't know whether or not you're going to be 7th or 4th or maybe even 3rd. And when you look at the standings, we were just a game away from being tied for 2nd in the league. So I think truly, like, you roll into this weekend, anyone can beat anybody here in Asheville this weekend, and the fans are going to be in for some exciting basketball.
I mean, even the games every game I think this year was competitive. Every game was exciting. There was some moments in every game across the league. You even look at VMI, a team that struggled this year with some injuries, really handicapping them much of the year, losing, again, the preseason player of the year, not having Ricky Bradley Jr. on that squad. They battled down to the very end.
Sure.
There's no easy out anywhere.
That's right.
1 through 10 coming in, of course. And then, like I said, we've knocked off ETSU twice. They're chomping at the bit, looking at potentially a second-round matchup again against our Catamounts to potentially be able to go. As we talk about the tournament bracket here, Coach, and you start looking at, again, all the different scenarios that play out. And, again, you talk about this tournament opening up on Friday. Luckily, we were able to avoid that. I'll get your thoughts on being able to avoid Friday. Just because it's 1 extra game, it's tough to win 3 in a row to be able to win a tournament. But when you add that 4th one in there, you start talking legs by about Sunday or Monday. But, again, Chattanooga Citadel opening right out of the gates, very competitive. UNCG has an opportunity to have a player of the year. We'll see that coming up this week. Is Neely the player of the year in the conference? And then you get into the weekend, you talk about Saturday, the number 1 and number 2s having those opportunities to have those first-round buys and see who they play. Sometimes I'd rather be one of those, either the 3 through 3, 4, 5, or 6. At least you know who you're playing that first day.
As a coach, it's easier for sure. You prepare more for one team and versus trying to prep for 2. But obviously you have the advantage if you're that 1 or 2 seed of the other team, having a game that they've had to play, so maybe some rest and some fatigue can come into play. But it can also be dangerous, because team, wins. The team you're playing just won the night before the arena.
They get all those first-round jitters out of the way. So it depends on where you're coming from. If you're sitting there waiting, you're talking about, man, they got to play an extra game. We get to sit and scout them again in person. Mm-hmm. If you're playing in those games, you're saying, listen, we're riding momentum.
Yeah.
And so many different ways to look at it there. You talk about that 3-6 matchup, the game right before ours on Saturday, and you got Sanford Furman, who I think swept that series.
Right.
And they're the 6. Sanford's the 3. So, again, now you got potential upset there. I don't think there's any game in this tournament that you're going to go, wow, that's an upset. Honestly,
I don't either.
Obviously, you look at it off the top. You got VMI coming in as the 10. They knocked off Chattanooga, the defending champion, a defending NIT champion early on in the year. And again, then injuries started to pile up, and they're looking at this as an opportunity, as a brand new day. They got a brand new slate going into this tournament. I think everybody has that,
right?
But you like to feel good about yourself going into this tournament.
Yeah, no, you do. You like to go in, as you said, feeling like you're playing well and confident, and we certainly feel like that. And we did want to try to avoid that first day for sure. I think when even if you're playing on that first day, if you can win and get to Saturday, it's not as big of a factor. But getting into Sunday, it definitely becomes a factor. So, when all of us want to not just win a game, right? We all want to win the whole thing. So, when you have to play 3 games versus 4 games, you certainly would much rather play one less game. So we're thankful that we got the job done here on Saturday and put ourselves in a position to get the bye. And, like we want to get to where this is year 2 for us, and first year we had to play on the first day. This year we're not. We want to make it where this is a regular thing. We're not playing on that first day because we've had a really good regular season and put ourselves in a position to play just 3 games in a conference tournament. Hopefully that's something that we can continue to do.
Well, of course, as we mentioned, again, get your tickets online at catamountsports.com. Click on the ticket link there. Again, tickets, I would get them for the entire tournament if it were me. I would not just sit back and say, I'm going to get them session by session. I would go ahead and lock them in. And especially for our friends and family and our alumni, everybody in the Asheville, Buncombe County, from Haywood County here in Waynesville, from Jackson County coming over, we need to own it. The tournament is in Western North Carolina.
Right.
We're the only team from Western North Carolina. What I love about it is Johnson City's about an hour away. Wofford, Furman, an hour or less away. So we're the centralized location. The center of the hub is in Asheville. But again, it's just something about it that we want to paint Asheville purple from start to finish. You got to love it being over in Asheville and being tournament time. SoConHoops.com has a whole week of activities. And don't forget, we'll also be over at the Beer Garden, Catamount Central this year, starting up with a Friday night event for the men's tournament. Of course, the women's tournament, we've talked about having an event on Wednesday night. We'll also have an early morning at the Early Girl Eatery. That'll be going on with the women's tournament as well. So trying to take Cullowhee and make it Cullowhee East, Ramsey Center East, over at the Harris Cherokee Center. We want to have a large crowd. And again, playing on Saturday night, I think could lend itself to helping that. You're not playing one of the early games on Friday. People are off of work. It's the night game. You get to go to the Beer Garden all afternoon. It's just going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we need to make this, let's just cut to the chase. I mean, this needs to be a home game for us.
Yeah.
It needs to be a home game for us on Saturday night. Mercer's, much further away from us, Macon, Georgia. We've got, so many alumni and fans and students in the area. Just really encourage our fans to get to the game Saturday night and make it a great day in Asheville and really make our presence felt. Paint it purple. I love the Southern Conference tournament. Hook, this is just my second year. You've been in this tournament, part of this tournament. How many years?
Everyone since 96.
There you go.
2 years before I actually came to Western. So everyone since 96. I've seen it in Greensboro. I've seen it in Greenville. I've seen it in Charlotte. I've seen it in Chattanooga. I've seen it in Charleston, South Carolina. Asheville's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, and Southern Conference fans don't realize probably how lucky they have it to have this event in Asheville and the history of Asheville with the Southern Conference tournament. The proximity to all the schools, the facility is great. It's historic. The town is awesome. Like I was in the Big South for 11 years. We didn't have anything like this. And when you watch conference tournaments on television, a lot of times you look and there's nobody there because they're at some random neutral site where nobody can get to it. But in this league, you're regional. All the schools are close. There's nothing like it. I mean, it's one of the best in the country. And so, we don't want to make sure that we don't take that for granted. Let's enjoy it. Let's get here on Saturday night and get loud.
Well, the question is, we did sign the scheduling alliance with our friends from the Big South for next couple of years. Any rumor that the winner of that Big South Southern Conference Alliance gets Asheville? Are we any rumor? No, I'm kidding. I know they've wanted to be. They would love to be in the same situation to be able to be in Asheville because of having such a great buy-in and everybody in Asheville that does such an outstanding job with putting this tournament on, from the conference office all the way through the visitor bureau. Everybody explore Asheville. Everybody, just a great opportunity. Want to touch on 2 more things before we finish up to talk about the tournament one last time as we look at Mercer coming up, but want to touch upon one, your seniors. You had 3 that you honored on Senior Day. Of course, Julian Samaro, who you've had for quite some time. I think you've known him for a long time with your ties at Gardner-Webb, him finishing up. Of course, Vernon Collins, who had the tough situation with the injuries this year. And then, of course, Marcus Kell. I want to touch on him. I know we list him as a redshirt junior, but class-wise, getting his Senior Day, talk about what those seniors have meant to you.
All 3 of them have meant a lot, and they're both great leaders. They're both guys that take care of all their business off the court and do a great job, in the classroom. Julian has his degree and earned it from East Carolina. He was there for just a year, but was with us at Gardner-Webb for 3 years. So it's been great to coach him for 4 years, and there's fewer and fewer of those guys now in college basketball that you get to coach for 4
Right.
years. So that's been really special, and it's been great to see him grow. And he's obviously got hurt after the Chattanooga game, so our last 4 he's been out for. We're hoping to get him back in the tournament, but he's been such a great leader for our team all year. Helped us win a lot of games in a lot of different ways, from his scoring to his defense and passing.
And cheerleader. I watched him during the last couple of games on the sideline.
Assistant coach, cheerleader.
Assistant coach, GA position maybe.
Yeah.
I guess he's
I mean,
definitely doing it, man.
Yeah, he'd be a good one. And Vern Collins, had a really, was a guy that came in last year for us and did a lot of good things for us last season. Had a great summer, great off season, was really poised for a great year. Dealing with an injury all year that he hasn't been able to play, which has been disappointing to him and to us. But will get his degree. He's a great student, honor roll student, Dean's List guy. This team had one of the highest team GPAs had the highest of any team that I've been around in my 20 years in Division I, and one of the highest with men's basketball at Western in the history of the program. So we got some good students, and Vern is kind of one of the top guys, man, in that area. So it was great to be able to honor him. And then Marcus Kell, he's been a Western guy for 4 years and redshirted a year. Has had 2 terrific seasons, was one of our best players last year, and then came back and really believed in us having a chance to to have the type of year that we've had and really compete in this league, and he certainly was getting calls to try to go other places. He certainly could have gone into the portal, but he didn't want to do that. He loves the school. He loves Western. He's getting his degree here in construction management, and we're glad he came back, and he had a great season for us.
Yeah, I joked with him. I said, you got one more year. You could come back one more year, right? You could just stick around. You don't have to go anywhere. I said, when Mike Young calls you, you can tell him no. We don't want you to finish your career at Virginia Tech. And both his parents, Virginia Tech graduates. But, again, the seniors have meant a lot. Looking forward to trying to find a way to send them out on a positive note. 3 more to get a conference championship, to run that winning streak from 6 to 9. Let's get that done this weekend. But want to touch on 2 more things, one being the One More, One Less project. What a day we had here. What a great atmosphere with all those adoption and foster care. I know it's something near and dear to your heart. Talk about the experience this past weekend.
Yeah, great event, and the administration has really done a good job with helping us bring this to Cullowhee. And we did the foster care and adoption game at the school that I was at, Gardner-Webb, and so we wanted to bring it here. We adopted our youngest son, Christian, out of foster care, and so having a chance to try to really do 2 things: try to get as many foster families, children, and some of the workers, and some of the advocates and guardian ad litems and group home workers and DHS, as many people as we can here to just try to kind of love on them, just give them a special day of watching basketball, meeting our players. We had a pizza party before the game, and just trying to give them a great time and let them know that they're seen and loved, and then try to educate all the people that are watching our game, that are at the game, that are seeing it on television, that there is a big need for help with these foster kids, and there's a lot of kids in care, a lot of kids that need homes, and so we're trying to raise some awareness to that, and hope that maybe some people watching the game hear something that kind of pricks their heart, and maybe leads them to want to find out more and how they can help support this cause.
It definitely all starts with awareness. And, of course, Christian every year gets a little more lines. Next year he's going to run the whole video, I think.
Yeah, his acting skills are getting
he's
better
getting
and
up
better.
there.
He did a good job.
The Actors Guild is on the phone. They want to talk to him. We got a couple of agents that are looking for him here. And then want to touch upon one more thing before we get back to the tournament. coming up in April. Again, the Songwriters Concert, the Nashville Songwriters Concert. Looking forward to having that back here. Big part of fundraising with what we're doing, and it's an event that you get to come to and enjoy, table setting, dinner, meet and greets if you get that platinum level. Just a great atmosphere. Second year of that here in Cullowhee.
Yeah, we do it right here in the Ramsey Center, and it's a great night, and we have 4 different artists that are here, and two of the guys, I mean, they've written number 1 hits. Multiple number 1 hits for everybody in country music. I mean, a lot of the songs that you hear on the radio, some of your favorite songs, these guys wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also are artists and can perform the songs. So it's such a cool night because they explain the story behind the song, how Brad Paisley or Kenny Chesney or Carrie Underwood kind of picked the song up, and that whole story behind that, which is cool. And then they play the song, and it's really, really, really fun. It's a great time. It's dinner. Ingles, has stepped up and sponsored this event for the 2nd year in a row. It's a really unique event. And then you get to help our basketball program because it's a really key fundraiser for us. And, there's no getting around. Like, if you want to watch good teams like we had this year, and the roster that we were able to put together this year was because we were able to work really hard at raising money for NIL to attract the best players. So, we need to raise money for a lot of different things in our program, but certainly building the roster is a key component of having a good team. And so we'll encourage Catamount fans to get involved and circle that date on the calendar. And not only are you going to, again, be helping our program in a big way if you decide to come to the event or buy a table, businesses can sponsor a table and get some advertising with that as well. But it's a lot of fun. You're really going to enjoy your time, and it's a great night.
Yeah, it'd be a great opportunity to give back to the program and enjoy a great night. Again, businesses sponsor a table. Maybe
right.
maybe you could use that as an opportunity as your business to court more business for yourself. Say, hey, look, I know you're trying to do business. Let me take you to this event here. So
that's right.
Again, just a great opportunity, a great night. 2nd year in a row that we've done that here inside the Ramsey Center. Again, you see that. Special thanks to Ingles and the Chef's Kitchen and all that they do to help promote that event. And, of course, our friends from Budweiser who are helping that as well. Again, all the stuff that goes into trying to make something happen. You talk about Joe Lasher, Caitlin Baker, Kelly Lovelace, Neil Thrasher. Again, some of the names you may not recognize the names, but you'll recognize the song, and you're like, oh my goodness, that's so-and-so song that this person wrote.
Right.
And now they're performing it because they're singer and songwriters, that sort of thing. So looking forward to that coming up in April. All right, Coach, business at hand, though. Let's talk finally one last time here. Again, painting Asheville purple. Going to say it over and over again. Want everybody out in force helping back this team as we try to make a push. The dance team, the cheerleaders, the Cat House Band will all be there. Purple Thunder will be there. We want to make sure we represent this institution in a huge way. And, years ago when Marshall used to come down, they would always bring the $2 bills and bring their green and try to prove to everybody that they were the big dog in the Southern Conference. We have an opportunity to show that we're the top cat here in the SoCon. Looking forward to it. You got Mercer. You just played them. A very tough opponent. Let's talk about them real quick. A very good team top to bottom.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, Coach Ritter, number one, he and his staff did a great job, like, rebuilding their roster and just bringing in some great transfers that are just, they got one of the best point guards in the league and one of the best post players in the league and then one of the best shooters in the league. And then they plug in some role players that are really impactful for their team as well. And they put you in a lot of hard spots. So, it's going to be a battle. Last year we played them in the tournament as well.
And we owe them one from last year.
Yeah, we do. We do. It went right down to the last game, and they made a bucket at the end. And so it'll be a great game. I know they'll do a great job preparing. We're going to do a great job here this week getting prepared, and we're excited about the matchup and really excited to see our fan base, make this place make the Harris Center a home game. We want people to hear from Catamount Nation in a big way on Saturday, and we're excited about this tournament. Really fired up.
Again, looking forward to a pregame tournament or pre-tournament event there on Friday night over at the Beer Garden. That's downtown, within walking distance. It is far and away the best venue to be able to go, to be able to get to the arena. So get your tickets in advance. CatamountSports.com. Go ahead and get those things locked in. If not, we will have ticket representatives at the Beer Garden. I know we're doing some special initiatives. If we have any students that are tuned in, we might have a few replica jerseys that we can throw into the mix there.
Yeah.
We got a couple of businesses that are donating tickets. Residential Life has donated money to help get some free tickets going. So we're working on getting some students there to the ball game. Again, we got to get through the first one to get to the second one. But, again, looking forward to making a run in Asheville. So a Beer Garden event on Friday night. Of course, we'll also be there pre-gaming, everything, get you geared up. Again, it's the last game of Saturday. Plenty of time to get all geared up and ready to go over at the Beer Garden. You come inside, Coach. We'll let you talk to the camera one last time. Again, tell the folks here we need Catamount Nation to be out in force this weekend, starting on Thursday morning with our women's team, all the way through Monday night.
Right, and I'd encourage our students too. I know spring break is starting. Next week is spring break, but you got the whole week.
Yeah.
You got the whole week. Carve out this weekend to get to Asheville, get your spring break. What a great way to start spring break.
Yeah, for sure.
Get to Asheville, spend some time shopping, maybe get to watch the other games, or go have dinner, go to the Beer Garden, hang out with your friends from school and alums, and then go cut loose and get rowdy Saturday night at 8:30. We want to see you there. Our students, our alums. Again, let's make sure that the Southern Conference really hears from Western Carolina Saturday night, in that when people walk into that place, they see all the purple and they're like, whoa, this is a home game for the Cats. And I would love for our team to run out on the court and feel that energy. And you don't know how much that means to a team when they have that kind of environment. And it can help. It can help propel us to that next round. And nobody wants to miss out on. It's been 1996 since Western Carolina's cut the nets down and gone to the NCAA tournament. You don't want to miss out if that happens this year, and we certainly have a team that's good enough to do it.
That's that fear of missing out. You don't want to be a part of it. You want to make sure you can tell people later on, like I got to do back in 1996. I can tell everybody I was there.
You were there.
I had zero ties to Western Carolina at the time, other than having gone to an on-tour event on Thursday, went to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all the way through at that time, watched us win a tournament. No greater feeling than to be a part of that, especially from the very beginning. So looking forward to that. You talk about fans making a difference. Really felt like in that Furman game, we got the crowd going, and all of a sudden that tide turned, and our shade of purple came out on top in that one against a really good opponent. So, again, looking forward to being an Asheville coach. Appreciate your time here with our Catamount Coaches Show, again, presented by Catamount Jacks and Stanberry Insurance. Wish you the best of luck. We'll talk with you over in Asheville after we finish painting a few things purple. What do you say?
Absolutely. Go Cats.
That's Western Carolina head coach Tim Kraft. Thanks to Jonathan Sippis and his staff for being here earlier. Again, special thanks to the staff of Catamount Jacks being our home all season long. And, of course, Stanberry Insurance, 4 locations, Silva, Waynesville, Highlands, and Clyde. Online at stanberry-ins.com. Make sure you give them an opportunity to give you a quote. Stanberry Insurance been backing the Catamounts for well over 40 years, and they'll be backing the Catamounts in Asheville. It's SoCon tournament time presented by Ingles. Make sure you're in Asheville this weekend. For everybody else, I'm Daniel Looker saying so long, and we'll see you next time right here on our Catamount Coaches Show.